Hello, and welcome to the 2024 Open Texas Conference. The Open Texas Conference is sponsored and convened by two cooperating organizations, the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board, the state agency that serves as a resource partner and advocate for Texas higher education in Texas, and the Texas Digital Library, a library consortium providing services that enable free and open access to scholarly, cultural heritage, and educational materials. I apologize. Was I sharing the screen?
Yes, you're sharing. You're good.
Thank you. My name is Beatriz Flores Martinez, and I'm an instructional designer at Laredo College. I will serve as your moderator today. We welcome you to introduce yourself and ask questions in the chat. Please feel free to turn on your webcam, but mute your mic unless you're speaking. Also, please be aware that we are recording the session today. Recorded sessions will be available within the conference attendee hub for 30 days. Following the 30 days, the recording will be accessible through the Open Texas YouTube repository. I'm going to go ahead and add the link for everybody to have access. And also, I will place the link to the conference code of conduct in the chat for your information. The session titled Strategizing the Future of OER and OER Leadership in Texas Insights from the OER Founding Fellows. Thank you all for Thank you all for joining us today, and I will turn it over to our session presenter so we can get started.
Thank you, Beatrice. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm just going to get my my slides up. My name is Carrie Gits, and I'm a director in the Division of Digital Learning at the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board. And I'm joined this afternoon by two of my colleagues and several of our founding fellows. And I'll let both Kylah and Megan briefly introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Kylah Torre. I am Senior Director in the Division of Digital Learning at the Coordinating Board. Excited to be here, excited to see so many friendly faces, and I'll let Megan introduce herself.
Hi, everybody. Megan Simmons here. I lead training and design at ISKME. We're a nonprofit based in Half Moon Bay, California, that has been working closely with the coordinating board over the past 5 or so years on this great work. And I'm so thrilled to be here. Thanks.
And you'll meet a couple of our founding fellows a little bit later in our conversation this afternoon. But we are here to share some insights and talk a little bit about a new initiative that we launched over the summer, which was the Founding Fellows Program, which will lead into and has already led into a longstanding fellowship program. And we kicked off with our year one fellows just a couple of days ago. And to kind of get things started before I turn it over to my colleague to talk a little bit about kind of why we started this and where we are with open education in Texas and the value of establishing important relationships in the open education community across the state. This quote, I think, symbolizes a lot of the importance of getting things done together and being creative and supporting one another, but nothing truly innovative, nothing that has advanced art, business, design, or humanity was ever created in the face of genuine certainty or perfect information, because the only way to be certain before you begin is if the thing you seek to do has already been done. And so we're going to hear a lot about kind of our process that we went through to design this program and the curriculum. And it was a lot of fun, a little bit messy, and it's still ongoing. So I'm going to turn it over to Kylah to talk about kind of where we are with OER in the state of Texas.
Yes, we used a lot of Post-its, which you'll see later on. But so I think there are several of you who have probably heard at least some or all of this presentation. And if you were in the town hall earlier, you saw some of it. So I'm going to try to slant it towards the fellows so I don't say exactly the same thing and bore you all. But we are thinking, we have been thinking of this as a pivotal moment for OER nationally and in Texas. And I'm going to explain a little bit of why and why we decided to start the OER Fellows Program now. So Texas has a long history of OER, OER work. There's been, we have OpenStax here at Rice University, or Coral at UT. There have been numerous national grant initiatives here at various institutions. We have legislation that created a grant program and course marking requirement, and we have a repository that is state funded. And we've been doing biennial landscape research amongst the institutions since 2017. And more recently, we've been diving into some research where we saw gaps or questions that still needed to be answered around regional use of OER at various institutions in the 10 higher education regions in Texas. We used the research findings to create resources like the Texas OER Playbook and the High Impact Course Hub that we have on OER Texas. And since November of 2020, this work has really accelerated because we established the Division of Digital Learning at the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board. And our goal is to provide leadership and advocacy for digital learning. So this small but mighty team, as we call ourselves, there are two of us in the room, and that makes up a large proportion of the team. But we took over the OER work that was already being done at the coordinating board, and then have added on a lot of projects and initiatives, and also scaled some of the work that was already happening. So we like to ground everything that we do in research and build on that research to create programs, services, and resources. So you see our portfolio is quite large when it comes to open education. At this point, we have the state-funded grants. During the pandemic, we also had grants that were funded by the Governor's Emergency Education Relief Funding that came out of the CARES Act. And those are for developing or switching courses over to OER. We have a lot of professional learning happening, various academies, and I'll get into that in a little more detail on the next slide, or in a few slides. But we also have community events like Open Texas, and now we have the Digital Learning Summit. We have Texas Digital Learning Week, all of which include OER components. And we have resources like the Texas OER Playbook that are dedicated to building OER work. We also like to, we are now the Division of Digital Learning, so our portfolio has gotten quite large into other areas of digital learning, but all of the deliverables and all of the resources that we create out of all of our programs are open, and we house them on OER Texas. And OER Texas is the state repository for OER in higher ed. We launched it in September of 2020, and we've had, I think, almost 600,000 users since then across all states and continents. We have over 14,000 added resources, including many that have been authored within the platform using Open Author. And there are lots and lots of resources and services that you can find that are available through OER Texas. We have hubs for high impact course resources, for digital instruction, for digital information literacy, some of which were we built in partnership with our institutions in Texas. We have a hub in development for artificial intelligence and how to adapt to innovation and emerging technologies. We have professional learning academies that range from foundational skills in our core elements academies to things like how to create OER in our creator communities academy. We partnered with OpenStax to create the OER Nursing Essentials project, which has culminated in the publishing of 8 nursing textbooks that are openly licensed. I should say 7, and there will be an 8th one any day now. We have the OER Playbook, which is a text that highlights Texas institutional work in OER and also walks you through how to build, sustain, scale OER work on your campuses. And along with that, we have an on-demand course on OER Texas for the playbook, and we have academies. Of course, we have Open Texas as our sort of large community event for OER in Texas. And now we have the Texas OER Fellowship Program. And that really came out of some of the research that we did, that especially the regional analysis that suggested that mentorship amongst OER, people working in open education, would be beneficial. But also, we realized that this is kind of a pivotal moment in open education, and I keep calling it a pivotal moment. And frankly, Nicole Allen called it a pivotal moment today, and so I think it's catching on. Or maybe I just planted that in her head right before, whatever. So it's a pivotal moment for a variety of reasons. One is that we have these emerging technologies and, rapid innovation like AI. We have automatic billing models in various shapes and forms. We have federal rulemaking in various places within digital learning, including this sort of opt-in, opt-out question. And then the open education movement, as we see from our research in Texas and we see from research nationally, is in this place where it's not nascent, right? It's established. And so where do we go from here? And I think, so our goal really has been to try to change the narrative around OER, and really around emerging technologies and various other things, but changing the narrative from what are the barriers to what are the opportunities right now. For OER, how can we move from affordability as the reason to student success in a broader way? And how do we go from reacting to the things happening in the world around us to anticipating and being able to be agile in our response to them? So out of this, I said that the research had told us that mentorship was important. But we thought, since we're in this pivotal moment, if we're going to create a program or an initiative around mentorship and leadership in Texas, why don't we do it in a way where we're thinking about how we design and then support the future of open education in Texas? And then how do we support emerging OER leaders such that we are creating the future that we imagine? So we are taking this opportunity to reimagine all of the things. Yes, thank you. Reimagine how we educate, how we learn, how we drive change, how we innovate, how we advocate, and how we lead through open education in Texas. And that imagining, and you'll see that imagination is a large part of what we have done with the Texas OER Founding Fellows that has led to the OER Fellowship Program and our first iteration of it, which is the Texas OER Founding Fellows. And I'm going to hand it over to... Nope, I'm not. I'm going to keep going. Sorry. So the fellowship program itself was, we decided that we would establish a fellowship program in order to support these mentor relationships in the state, not only for OER use and creation, but also for capacity building at institutions and across the state. So the idea is really to sort of lift all boats together, right? And then in order to create a fellowship program, we prefer and really make a point of basing all of our work and initiatives in sort of user design. So we decided that the first part of the fellowship program would be a group of founding fellows who were people who demonstrated considerable experience and leadership in open education and OER in Texas, and who would together collaborate to design and evaluate the program curriculum and any resources necessary to guide leadership development of the future Texas OER Fellows. And those founding fellows met over the summer, basically in 2 months, created the curriculum for the OER Fellowship. These are them. They are stars in OER in Texas. And then the year 1 fellows have kicked off just as of yesterday. We brought in the year 1 fellows, so the founding fellows, as I said, are experts in OER, are stars in OER in Texas. They are people who have championed Z-degree pathways. They are leadership in regional consortiums and national organizations. Some of them are Spark Open Education Fellows, Open Ed Committee members, Hub administrators on OER Texas, keynote speakers, researchers, award winners. They're really, really impressive people. But also, some of them are first generation college graduates. We have former students who are members struggling with textbook costs. One of them was an elementary educator in Title I schools. One of them is brand new to Texas, but has done a lot of OER work elsewhere. Several of them are mentors to their students, and all of them are believers in accessible education and passionate OER advocates. And so we brought them together, first in person in Austin for a couple of days, and then, sorry, Jen, you are assimilating, you're great. First in person in Texas, and then in virtual sessions over the summer. And the 3 of us who are presenting to you today were the facilitators of that session, and then we also brought in some expert guest speakers. And I think I'm going to now hand it over to Carrie Gits to really walk you through the program design of the OER Founding Fellows program.
Thanks, Kylah. So as Kylah mentioned, it was a very rapid, condensed, fast-paced couple of months, and we brought the founding fellows together. We kicked off in person in Austin with the goals of the overall founding fellowship program was to create the strategic plans for OER leadership development in Texas, really to design and co-create the Texas OER Fellowship curriculum. Again, co-create those resources that focus on materials for emerging leaders, to inspire Texas OER leaders through impactful storytelling. And each of the fellows, one of our virtual sessions was on advocacy and storytelling. And so one of the things that they have each done has created their stories of impact and recorded themselves and made them available for our year 1 fellows and for future leaders in Texas. They identified their mentorship styles and engaged in leadership development. So they will be serving as mentors to the year 1 fellows. And they helped identify and determine some of the capstone project themes for the Texas OER Fellowship Program. So how we did this, our 2-day in-person workshop really focused on, the first kind of day was focused on looking at the research and coming up with some questions that I think Kylah mentioned and pointed to in her presentation a couple minutes ago about kind of where we are with OER, what is the big question about supporting leaders and mentors in Texas. But we really looked at had a facilitated workshop by Dr. Julie Schell from University of Texas at Austin, who helped us walk through futures design and design thinking and helped us think big and think about the many possible futures with OER. How can we interact with the future? And this idea that you can't predict the future, but you can design it. So helping us prepare and be thoughtful in our thinking and our strategy and our designing of the curriculum. And then they work together to co-design the curriculum based on the established goals that they came together. And Kylah mentioned stickies earlier. You see the beginning of those in this picture here, where we sort of co-created some very elaborate creatures together to get us connected and tied together. But we also looked at the research insights, as Kylah mentioned earlier. We do drive our work based on the research. And so some of the things that the Founding Fellows identified in looking through the various landscape surveys and the research reports that we've done is the need for a peer review process in OER, the importance of institutional commitment, OER champions and mentors, regional support and collaboration, the course marking, standardization and practices, and incentives for faculty. And so we came up with some questions that we asked them to kind of respond to that helped us frame maybe some of the areas for the curriculum. And this was our messy and fun and very effective and productive design process. So you can see by the end of the 2 days, our walls were covered with ideas and iteration and innovation. And this just sort of illustrates all the things that we came together in person. And then one of the things that we had to walk away with from those couple of days together was creating the vision for the OER Fellowship Program. And so together we came up with some ideas, and Kylah used sort of her mental own ChatGPT brain to put together coalesce the ideas of the Founding Fellows, and the vision statement for the Texas OER Fellowship Program is: the future of Texas education is open, and we get there together. Just as we developed the curriculum, you'll kind of get a glimpse of it in a second. It is, as we took it from the design stages and from the iteration of putting it into ideas and post-it notes, we transitioned it into collaborative documents, as well as putting it up on OER Texas. As we did this, we wanted to keep in mind some core design principles and making sure that the material and the program was inspiring, authentic, that it included hands-on and engaging interactive activities, that it was collaborative and community building. So the emphasis on getting people to work together on some of these activities, making sure it was inclusive and accessible, touched on incentives and recognition, that the work that went into it and the activities and some of the outcomes were actionable, that the projects were relevant and localized, that this could easily be adapted, that there was continuity between the various lessons and modules, and that it did sustain a sustainable learning culture. And then as we worked through the different 8 modules to kind of flesh those out, we wanted to also make sure that there were some connecting threads through each of the modules, that there was an emphasis on human-centered design, so making sure that there was multiple points of view and intentional collaboration emphasized, that we had information and emphasis on change management principles. So we know that OER initiatives across institutions do require a lot of change management. Whether you are knowledgeable or an expert in change management, it is getting people to think differently. And so walking them through and helping them through that change is extremely important for an OER leader, advocate, practitioner. Looking at what exists out there already and how to help us build that future, making sure that the modules were solutions oriented, and that there was that there was actionable goals focused on that. And we have 8 units, I've alluded to them. So there are 8 units that are now available, and we will be walking the year 1 fellows through, and the 8 units focus on needs assessment and analysis, imagining and designing the big picture, using data to inform strategy, community and partnerships, program and implementation outputs, storytelling and advocacy, leadership development, and training and support. And I think in a few minutes we'll take a look at some of the modules in more detail, but I'm going to turn it over to Megan, who's going to talk a little bit about the mentorship, because as you've heard, a core function of the fellowship program is that mentorship piece of the program.
Thanks, Carrie. Yes, the mentorship piece was something that we wanted to co-create with our founding fellows. So we actually put together a guide. There's a picture of it in action. You can actually print it out as a hard copy. I just put a link in the chat to the guide. And we started out, if you go to the next slide, having the fellows reflect on effective mentorship experiences that they've had personally. So using that as inspiration to help them start to think about the type of mentors that they want to be and the types of experiences that they want to lead for their mentees. And so we had a lot of different questions to reflect on that. And we started with some storytelling. Then we also started to articulate some of our values and our vision and goals for mentorship, some of our strengths that we have identified in ourselves, and also some of our growth opportunities that we want to improve on. So in the guide, it's you know, kind of like a workbook where people can fill in their plans, and we also have some tips around putting together meeting agendas for mentor meetings. The founding fellows are meeting with our year 1 fellows 4 times over the course of the next or of this school year. And there's also some tips for deep listening and sharing feedback. So yeah, we're still learning and really excited, because part of what we're going to do for our year 2 fellows, which we don't even know who they are yet, but maybe some of the people here will apply, is our year 1 fellows who just kicked off yesterday. Will be mentoring them. So it'll be a continual support network for emerging leaders, and we'll keep iterating on the guide as we go to best support mentor-mentee relationships and emerging leaders as we continue to grow this project.
Thanks, Megan. Through this process, we identified several lessons learned, and we're continuing to identify what these are, but you can see this picture on the right is all of the founding fellows with our facilitators and our assistant commissioner, Michelle Singh. But what we learned is that even though we talk about the process being iterative and innovative and a little bit messy, we had enough structure that allowed for true collaboration, creativity, and most of all, agility. And so we were able to modify and pivot as needed, but still get the work done in a creative way. We made sure that you know, the teams and the work that was being put upon the founding fellows, that everyone understood what the assignment was and could take action, and worked both together and independently to create the curriculum and make suggestions and improvements. But we, most of all, we did prioritize team building. So a lot of those, the day and a half or 2 days in Austin, we really emphasized a lot of team building and support and networking, collaborating to build the team and bring everyone together. And there was a lot of fun involved. So you'll hear a little bit about that from some of the fellows in a few minutes. But and really, it was about elevating each other and making each other feel brilliant, and being surrounded by individuals who were advocates and supporters of OER. And I think you'll hear some of them say that being in a room together with people that you don't have to advocate for OER, because everyone is supportive and encouraging of the work you're already doing. So it was a great opportunity to be together. So actually with that, we are going to turn it over. You're going to hear from some of our founding fellows in a few minutes that they're going to kind of walk through their experience and what their lessons learned, kind of they're going to share with us what their favorite part of the OER fellowship was, and then their hope for the future OER, what their hope for future OER fellows. So I am going to actually just kind of go in order of the names on the list. So I'm going to open it up to Victoria to share.
Hi, everybody. My name is Victoria Brame. I'm a reference librarian at Lone Star College Sci-Fair. And I think we had our kickoff session with the Year One Fellows yesterday, and we all kind of mirrored each other in our favorite part of the OER Fellowship. So I'm repeating it here, and I see a lot of my colleagues in the room. I just really appreciate getting to know and work with the Founding Fellows cohort just through this experience. And I'm excited to connect with OER leaders across Texas through future cohorts. And just kind of reiterating what Carrie said when we came together in Austin, we remarked on how rare it is that in a large meeting about OER, we don't have to convince anyone of our work's importance. And so I just love that this program, just builds future leaders and reinforces those connections. And similarly, my hope for future OER fellows is that they make strong connections with other fellows in their cohort and really have fun with the capstone projects. I'm excited to see just the cross-institutional and statewide impact potential of this program. And as you'll see in a few minutes, the Year One fellows are really an amazing group. And I hope to see some of you all, our attendees, in future cohorts.
Thanks. I don't see Dr. Elizabeth Rodriguez in the room yet, so maybe she had a conflict this afternoon. So we're going to go, Nikki, if you want to share your experience, and then I know there are some other fellows who have joined us, so we might ask them to share their experiences as well if they're willing. So Nikki.
Thank you. So, for me, the OER process has been about learning, and I've been fortunate to have a lot of really great people to learn from. But to have so much knowledge in one room and just to work together and to draw upon those days, but reading the discussions, being part of the follow-up after, what really an amazing process, and to see that we have such great OER thought leaders in Texas is wonderful. So humbled that to be put in as part of that, but it was a great process, and the individuals from the coordinating board and ISKME are included as part of that, because it is just the knowledge and the sharing is amazing. And to think about what we did in such a short period of time is a little tiring looking back after the fact, but it was a lot of fun doing it, and I wouldn't trade the experience for anything. Moving forward, I look at this group. I had a chance to meet my mentee yesterday, and am excited to see where they go with this next, where they take it, and really hope that they'll just continue to, this will continue to evolve to keep the diversity of thought, of institution size, of backgrounds coming together to just keep making things better. And there's opportunities for us all to continue to learn from one another.
Thank you, Nikki. And I know, and I'm not going to ask anyone I'm not going to put these fellows on the spot, but if I do see Jen and John and Nathan in the room, there might be others that I might be missing. If any of the other founding fellows are here, if they want to share, you can either post in chat or turn on your mic and camera, whatever you're most comfortable with.
I can add just a piece. I mean, I think Victoria and Nikki kind of captured what most of us said yesterday about our favorite parts. And I think all of us agreed that meeting each other, working together, kind of building our community was the best part of the whole thing. But I also want to give a shout out to our organizers, Kylah and Carrie and Megan, especially because one of the things we talked about early in the presentation is having that structure for collaboration. I'm not sure, even if you had put all of us in the same room together, that we could have done all of that without the planning and the organization and the structure that you all provided to make that possible. So I think that a lot of the credit goes to you all for just providing the opportunity, putting us in that space, and then giving us some structured way of thinking through all of the big questions that you were asking us to consider, because I think we've all been thinking about those things separately and in our own little cohorts, but having to pull it all together like that and do it as quickly as we did, and to do it in 2 days, I thought was pretty amazing on y'all's part. So I want to shout out to to those of you who put all of that together. And I know a bunch of people were behind the scenes that we didn't even see that day. So thanks to all of you.
Thanks, John. Any other fellows? Jen, I see you turn your camera on, but I'm not gonna.
I'll echo what Sabrina put in the, and there I go purple again. I don't know why my camera's doing that. What Sabrina put in the chat, which is that it was a mix. Like a lot of times, even in the OER world, you tend to be siloed in your communities as librarians or as faculty or as instructional designers. And I love that we had such a spectrum of perspectives in that room, because it really, I think, helped us develop a kind of a whole approach to implementing this program, because we had all of the different viewpoints of the people who are often engaged in it. And I really appreciated the leadership that really thought about how to bring those people together. So
Thank you. Yeah, that was, I mean, we had an enormous interest, like just way more applications for the founding fellows than we thought we were going to get, but it was very intentional to try to make the group you know, come from a lot of different viewpoints, including a lot of different like types of institutions and regions of Texas. And so we wanted to get kind of a group that would be representative of Texas, as well as bringing their OER expertise. And you all did it, and you were fun. I mean, I don't know how much more we could have asked for. Not a lot.
And as we continue to contribute in chat, I want to recognize and introduce our year one fellows. I know some of them are here in this room, and we met yesterday. We kicked off with the year one fellows. So this is who will be working through the curriculum, also be providing some peer review and continuous improvement as we navigate through the curriculum that was just designed. And again, these are all experts and various roles and responsibilities regarding OER. Again, as Kylah said, the diverse representation of institutions, region, roles. So we're continuing that theme through the fellows as we move forward. So the year one fellows, they will have, unlike the founding fellows who did everything in 2 months, a little over 2 months, the year one fellows will have a full academic year. And so they will go through the curriculum, those 8 modules, and also as they're going through them and doing the work and the activities, providing feedback and peer review. They have met their founding fellow mentor and will work together with them as they establish their capstone project. So that might be, you know, we're thinking about capstone projects that have both local and larger impact, so local and statewide impact, or local and broader impact in the OER community. And we'll come together in person with the year one fellows in the spring. And then we'll wrap up with them in June as they present their capstone project. So we're excited to continue to work with them, and our next meeting with them is in mid-October. And so, oh, go ahead, Kylah.
Sorry, I was just going to add, yeah, we will be meeting virtually with the year one fellows several times over the academic year, and sort of building on the curriculum created by the founding fellows with guest speakers, and some of the founding fellows will probably be guest speakers. But also, you know, during our sort of curriculum design process with all the stickies, names of people and resources and all these things came up to supplement the curriculum through the virtual sessions that we have together.
And I think we wanted to end with kind of these big questions for the larger group, but also give opportunity for others to ask questions about the fellowship program, and we'll kind of check in with the chat. But these were questions that we opened up the fellowship program with, and the founding fellows were kind of challenged with answering these or working through these. And so we wanted to bring these here with how do we design and support the future of open education in Texas? And how do we best support emerging OER leaders in Texas to create that future? And so we welcome those of you that are here to kind of contribute your thoughts on those two questions, or if you have other questions about the OER Fellowship Program.
I love that there are so many OER fellows, like founding fellows and year one fellows in the audience, by the way. Y'all are amazing. And you want to hear about yourselves. I get it. It's wonderful. You're rock stars.
And I'm just going to stop sharing my screen so we can see everyone. We can post the two big questions in chat if people want to respond to them.
There's a question about how we apply for the program. So we will in the spring, probably around April, sometime before, so that we can get out sort of announcements about who the fellows will be starting in the fall, prior to the end of the spring semester. We'll send out an application to all of the institutions in the way that we usually do it, which is that we send sort of a blast to your chief academic officer or chief instructional officer. And you also, coordinating board has liaisons at every institution, so we usually send it to them as well. We'll also post it in our, on OER Texas, we have a news group that you can join, and then you get directly all of the fun things that we are doing. And we'll post the announcement there when we send that out, but that'll happen this spring.
And I know that I think Megan posted the curriculum earlier in the chat. So that is also available in OER Texas currently. So if any of you are working through something similar at your institution to kind of build leaders, it is openly licensed and freely adaptable. So you can also reuse it and remix it for your own use as well.
Judith, I mean, really, how much more do you want from us? No, I'm kidding. I'm not the legislature, as it turns out. Well,
I just love that there's interest from this group for the next cohort of fellows. I really hope you apply and help us, build this work moving forward. So please apply.
yeah, I mean, one of the really fun things is that we get to sort of, it's open education. So we get to iterate and build on this curriculum every time and bring in the experiences of other OER leaders around Texas. And it's going to be so fun. It's already been so fun. There's been Play-Doh and balls, yellow balls and purple balls and all sorts of things.
Yeah, but in the meantime, if folks do have thoughts, as you're looking at some of the materials on or suggestions on what we should include here or work to highlight, we're super curious if you all are doing this kind of work, or if there's things that maybe we're missing or should be sure to include, not only in the course but just in how we support emerging leaders with this work. Austin, recommendations for the next cohort? Yes. It's great that we get to be in person, so I think we need more barbecue for the next round. We didn't get enough in the summer.
You kicked off the barbecue argument again, Megan. Don't do it.
Okay, I can see Sabrina too.
Yeah, I think I've told the founding fellows this many times, I think already, and I'll say it again, that it's been a real honor to be part of this program and just sort of co-create a curriculum for future leaders in Texas and imagine what open education will be in Texas, design that future together. So I'm really excited about the year one fellows and continuing on that journey.
Yeah, and I would echo that. And I think one of the things that you know, we talked about the sort of the focus on making sure that we have individuals who have various roles and responsibilities. You know, it's not just for librarians, it's not just for administrators or faculty. And we even heard that yesterday from when we had the mentees and mentors meet for the first time. Because OER work in general at an institution is crosses many departments, and this is a just sort of exercise in real life of being able to work together across those divisions and across the areas. And I think it's wonderful. It's wonderful to see that in action and to be able to have people make those connections at other institutions across the state. And so I'm really excited to see, you know, how this evolves and how the connections continue and the collaboration expands.
Well, I'll just say, unless there are other questions, that if you're dying now to be a Texas OER fellow, you're gonna have to wait until the spring for the application, but you can help us design together the future of open education in Texas. If you missed the town hall, there is a Padlet where we have asked some questions to the Texas open education community, and we would love to get your insight and have you answer some of those. And stay tuned for the application. April-ish is what we'll say.
And considering that next week is October, that's like
It's like
tomorrow.
tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yeah.
You can also always contact us at the Division of Digital Learning by emailing digitallearning@highered.texas.gov. We do love to keep open communication going, so please feel free. Thank you, Judith. Nice to see you. Okay, well, I think unless anyone else is dying to say something, I think we can probably close it out.
Thanks, everybody. Great to see you all.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
This was a great session, and we invite everybody to keep on OER talking in Texas and beyond. In case you are wondering how to get to the discussion, I can share with you real quick right here. Oh, by the way, I posted a poll in the strategizing the future and of OER. Leadership in Texas Insights from the OER Founding Fellows. So it says, are you considering applying to the OER Fellowship Program? I know Ms. Kylah just mentioned it's not until the spring, but you could say yes or no. And if yes, I went ahead and put the website and the email address that y'all can contact them for more information if you're interested. So regarding the discussion right now, we do have the discussion open for the chat in the Keep on OER Talk in Texas and beyond. And at 3:45, it will open for the video chat, the video discussion. So we want to thank you all for joining us today, and we hope you continue to enjoy the the Open Texas 2024 conference. Thank you all for joining us.
Thank you.